Hello, everybody. Welcome on into Betting Weekly WTA. It's your number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. I am Nigel Seeley. We're looking at some mouth-watering quarterfinals at the Australian Open and the ladies singles. Some real big matches to preview today, and the outright market as well. We still have our official pick in play as well. Before we go into the matches with our WTA handicapper Tim Dennis, please may I ask you to hit the subscribe button. I know I do this every single show, but we're getting a whole host of new people involved, lots and lots of views as well on the WTA. Great numbers watching these shows. But not many of you are hitting that subscribe button, and we really need you to hit the subscribe button, because the more subscribers we get, we can do more shows for you and try to give you some advice and give you some winners along the way. So far this season, we're minus 2 units, but as I say, we've got some much more tennis to come. But that doesn't include the outright picks, where we've given some, I think, 3 winners and 1 runner-up on our shows. They don't show; these are just match bets. Okay, good morning to everyone. Good afternoon to you, Tim Dennis, still in Egypt. When are you getting back here, do some work? How are you, mate? All right?
Hi, Nigel. Yeah, really well, thank you. I'm flying back on Thursday, unfortunately, late in the night. So it's back to some miserable, dreary UK weather that I've heard and read a little bit about, which I'm not looking forward to, truth be told. And you'll know a bit more about that than I will.
Yep. One thing you will be looking forward to, though, is these quarterfinals. There's some good matches, isn't there?
Absolutely. I think as far as, 8 names you've got in there go. You've obviously got the world number 1 in there. Coco, Gauff, our pick, Amanda Anisimova, Pegula, Swiatek, Rybakina, and then if you wanted one extra name in there, Jovic is probably one you probably choose, isn't it? Unlimited potential, and she's been fantastic so far, and a mouth-watering clash against the world number 1 to come.
Yeah, 6 of the top 8 in the world through to the quarterfinals. It has been a tournament for favourite bettors on the men's and the women's. Hasn't really been many shocks. I suppose the story of the tournament so far is Jovic. Can she go on? But she'll the biggest test of all against Aryna Sabalenka. Let's have a look how the bracket is facing up. These are the quarterfinals. This is the top half on the left-hand side, the bottom half on the right. So we have, amazingly though, we have 4 American players through to the last 4, and we will have an American semi-finalist guaranteed with Pegula and Anisimova. So there we have it: Sabalenka and Jovic, Gauff against Svitolina, Pegula v Anisimova, and Rybakina against Iga Swiatek. Some matches to cover, really, really big games. And before we do that, let's have a look at the outright market. Aryna Sabalenka is still the tournament favourite, plus 125. I would say that she's not at her best, but she's doing what she has to do. I read yesterday 20 consecutive tie breaks she's won, so it's an incredible record she has when she gets to the business end of these matches. Aryna Sabalenka plus 125, Elena Rybakina plus $5, second favourite. Iga Swiatek is plus 550. Amanda Anisimova, our pre-tournament pick. I think we tipped her up at 8 to 1 or 9 to 1. She's now 6 to 1. Coco Gauff is 7. Jessica Pegula 12. Eva Jovic, the story of the tournament, 17 to 1. And Elina Svitolina at 23. I know we're already on Amanda Anisimova to win the tournament. Is there anybody now that you think that looks a little bit big price, or do you think Sabalenka is a fade? I think it's a very, very short price. Everyone's playing well. I think plus 125. I think if you looked at all them players, the one player that I would say isn't at her best is Sabalenka, and she's plus 125.
Yeah, plus 125. She's obviously shortened up a little bit, having got to this stage, and I imagine she's that short because if she plays and beats Jovic, which she's expected to, a heavy minus money favourite, she'll probably shorten up a fraction more. And obviously, either Swiatek or Rybakina are going to take each other out, so maybe that's sort of why she's as short as she is. We did mention briefly Jess Pegula, which I think she was plus 2200. When we mentioned, I think she probably would beat Keys as she did, and she shortened up quite a bit there, 10 points to plus 1200. But we're obviously hoping Anisimova comes through that tomorrow. We spoke about those Americans there. It's unlikely, but there's a chance you could get 3 of the 4 semi-finalists could be American if things go their way. Obviously, Sabalenka will have a lot to say about that, but a perfect 8 there, and I think Svitolina, she's dropped, just like we said, just the 1 set so far this year. Playing great tennis, was excellent yesterday against Andreeva, and a lot to look forward to, and a perfect 8, I think, like you said.
Yep, let's have a look at the matches. As we say here, we've got these matches going, and we have, before we go into matches, I think it's very important to talk about the weather conditions. We have 2 really, really contrasting days. This evening over in Australia, at Melbourne, it's going to be ridiculously hot. The hottest day of the tournament. We've all had a tournament where the heat has played a big part of it. And the conditions are going to get even hotter tonight. I mean, you're in hot land there, Tim. I mean, it's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be a lot of stop-starts for the matches this evening, isn't there?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out because you've obviously got two sides of the draw there. You've got the Gauff and Svitolina match and the Sabalenka Jovic match, which is going to take place Eastern time tonight, going into tomorrow. Those matches are going to be played. Well, from when lunchtime onwards tomorrow, it's going to be over 100 degrees, reaching a high of 107 at 5 p.m. in the evening, and it's still going to be 101 at 8 o'clock tonight, 8 o'clock in the evening. So it wouldn't surprise me. I don't think they've decided yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if the roofs will be closed like they were earlier on in the week when Yannick Sinner played his match, for example, and like when Noskova had to be taken off and they came back on with the roofs shut. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. I'm not sure whether there'll be an early start with these sort of quarterfinal matches being, obviously you've got the night match, but whether they might bring the early one earlier in the day because of that heat, I'm not sure. We'll have to just keep an eye out for them. But then the other two matches that are going to be played the day after, Rybakina Swiatek and Anisimova Pegula, they're going to be back to pretty much what they played in today, the low 70s, again, no rain. And I think as far as conditions go for that day, I think that will really play to Rybakina's strengths because even though she likes the quick conditions and the ball flying, I think that was still the case today. She did mention that even though the conditions were sort of mid to high 70s, nothing like we're going to see tomorrow. And I think she'll be really happy because she does suffer with allergies and she does have the odd skin condition. So I think that triple figure heat she'll be delighted she's not going to be taking place in that. So two different days, but two completely different conditions. Probably pretty much 30 degrees difference in the temperatures.
Yeah, incredible. And I think by the end of the week, it goes down to about 65 degrees for the final and rain. So it goes from 108 down to 65 in the space of like 4 days. Just wild weather they're experiencing over in Australia. Let's have a look at some betting. Let's have a look at the matches. Today, 7:30 p.m, number one seed Aryna Sabalenka up against the tournament 28 seed and the star of the show for me the whole start of the year. She's been absolutely exceptional. Aryna Sabalenka against Eva Jovic. Sabalenka is minus 590. Jovic is plus 440. Spread is 5.5 in, total 19.5. There's your set, Ben. There's your set spreads, 60 odd markets available on the Bet Rivers app. If you download the app and you have a place a wager on this match, you'll be able to live stream the match this evening if you want to watch it from the comfort of your own home where you can have a little wager in play as well. I mean, Sabalenka's incredible run. She's unbeaten this year, 9-0. Jovic has lost only 2 matches, but 2 eventual tournament winners. 11 wins already this year. She's shown no fear against Paolini. Absolutely smashed her, putting this over, like absolutely annihilated her. Getting better and better as the tournament goes on. I don't think she's going to have any fear of this occasion. She doesn't seem like a girl that's going to be overawed by the situation. You know, she's not going to freeze on the big stage. And I think Sabalenka has the pressure more on her. Actually, it's a free shot for Jovic. And where do you see the value here? You know, if you're looking for some angles, official plays, leans, what's caught your attention?
Yeah, I mean, Jovic, massively impressive. We spoke about her earlier on in the year. She's a player to look out for, the way she finished last year. And she has sort of even surprised me. I thought it might take her another 6 months, maybe even best part of a year to get to this level, but she's done it almost instantly. This is her first meeting with a world number one, or first meeting with Aryna Sabalenka. But I mean, her potential is limitless, isn't it? I did speak about her serve, which I was really impressed with earlier on in her previous match before she played Putintseva. And again, that is really seriously impressive and has just come on in leaps and bounds. I mean, her first serve, again, in that match was averaging 165 kilometers an hour, and the second was at 135. I think if you compare that with Sabalenka, who's obviously at the peak of her career, and hers is just 6 kilometers faster at 171, and the second serve is 144, so a little bit there. And those are both from this tournament on the same day in identical conditions. So that's been a huge plus point for Jovic for me. Sabalenka, she was excellent in her first set against Mboko. I think she just had 4 unforced errors in that first set. But in that second set, that multiplied by 5. She had 20 unforced errors in set 2. And hence, a little bit like Potapova in the previous round, that's why she ended up having to play another second set tiebreak. If she doesn't keep those errors down, as we know they can come from her racket, the kind of tennis she plays, that could give a Jovic a chance for here. That 20 consecutive Grand Slam tiebreak she spoke about, I mean, what an incredible stat that is. I mean, I'd imagine, what do you think, if when you go into a tiebreak, even if you are world number one playing against even someone playing in the top 50, she's probably what, about a minus 175 chance to win the tiebreak?
I think that's where the you get an advantage on this, because obviously all these prices now from Bet Rivers and the sports books are all computer generated. So they will just come up with the price off the back of the money line. So you would be betting at minus 175. But the fact that she's won 20 consecutive tiebreaks gives her a bigger edge than that. So really, I'd probably factor that in, make her about a 250, 270 shot to win the tiebreak. But with the computer generation, it doesn't factor that in. So there's a little edge there, I believe, on the tiebreak if it does go to a tiebreak.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd been rolling your money over those 20 times, you'd be a rich man in Monaco somewhere, not on those tiebreak stats. So quite incredible. All of them coming at Grand Slam level, which is the amazing thing. This will be Jovic's first time against the world number one, but she doesn't seem to me like the player who's going to be phased by that. She seems very, very likable, very well grounded, very relaxed. She showed no signs of sort of nerves in her last 16 match against Yulia Putintseva, absolutely coming out firing in that first set. And I think looking at the markets for me, do I want to get on her to win this game? I think that probably might be a little bit of an arse, but a market we've been reasonably successful with when we've been betting total player games so far this tournament is, 7.5 games is sort of the line with Bet Rivers there at minus 117. But I wouldn't put anybody off probably going over 8.5 at plus 114 there as well. And even Jovic to win a set at plus 150 might well tempt a few. But I think our first official play here, I think Jovic over 7.5 games at minus 117 looks the safe way to go. I think she'll give Sabalenka a run for her money here.
Jovic keeping it competitive. Over 7.5 total games is the official play. If you want to play the total itself, it's 19.5, which is minus 117, is where I would probably be looking towards, because I think the first set will be quite cagey. Never played with each other before. Try to take a little bit of time to see which ones are what they've got a bit about each other, and I think the overs could be. Sabalenka has faded. She has found it tough. Wimbledon. I remember Wimbledon in those 2 matches she played where she was right up against it. She always finds a way to get back, but it may not be as easy as those minus 590 odds suggest. That match is 7:30 p.m. this evening, so make sure you get across to the BetRivers website, download that app, and get those bets on. First official play there.
I think one more quick stat about that, Nigel. Sorry to interrupt you about that game. I think Jovic, she's the youngest woman to reach the Australian Open quarterfinals without dropping a set since 1998, and that was Venus Williams. So it kind of shows you the company she's keeping and the tennis she's playing. So yeah, 28 years since that was matched. So that kind of tells you where we are with her.
Yeah, she's a top 20 player now, destined to be the top 10 probably by the time of the US Open. Okay, let's move on to our second match, 3 a.m. early morning start on Tuesday. This one, it's the match between Coco Gauff and Elina Svitolina. Coco Gauff is minus 210, Svitolina is plus 175. Spread is 3.5. Total here is 21.5. Again, the usual amount of markets, the best amount of markets in North America on their website, without a doubt. If you want to bet tennis betting, Bet Rivers is the place to go. These two do have some head-to-head records. 3 times they've met, 2 wins for Gauff, 1 win for Svitolina. They met twice in majors as well. They met in the 2024 US Open, where Gauff won in 3 sets in round 3. On that day, she was minus 250. And they met in the Australian back in 2021. Obviously, there's not really much relevance in that, but Gauff won that again. And on that day, she was a favourite, but not as much as I thought. Hang on, I had that written down. I can't find where I put it. Anyway, I'll come back. Oh, yeah, it was. Svitolina was the favourite, sorry, at minus $2. So now it's minus 210. Coco Gauff and Svitolina is plus 175. I was impressed with Svitolina, and I said on the last show we did that I thought she had the game to beat Andreeva. Andreeva didn't play at all well, but Svitolina was excellent in that match. And she's been in great form this year, 9-0. We talk about Sabalenka unbeaten, but Svitolina is undefeated this year. Gauff had a mixed United Cup, but since then she's looked good here. And she's only dropped 2 sets. Hailey Baptiste took a set off her, and Karolina Muchova took a set off her, but she blitzed her in set number 1 when she was right at it and seeing the ball like a football. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, Gauff leading the head-to-head 2-1, and I think we can probably put a line through the first match they played back in 2021. Perhaps I think Svitolina's probably a different player now, and Gauff obviously a little bit more mature. So those 2 most recents in 2024, which came in the Auckland final and the last 16 of the US Open, both of those going to 3 sets. And Gauff led the service points won, return points won totals 106.5 to 93.5 in those 2 matches. like you, I've been really impressed with Svitolina. She's still yet to drop a set here. Only dropped the one set in the whole season, like we spoke about winning that Auckland final. Gauff has gone the distance in her last two matches, having been excellent in the first set against Mukova. I think her level dropped early on in that second set. Whether that was just a little bit of a concentration lapse, I'm not quite sure. But I'd be surprised if she can play a really tight, clean match and get this done in straight sets. And I think the conditions will probably suit Svitolina. The thing that would slightly worry me about Svitolina is I think she has a losing record. I think she's lost 10 of 13 Grand Slam quarterfinal matches. And I think 3 of those have come here at the Australian Open. And Svitolina, she's lost 6 clashes against the top 3 players in the world, with her only victory coming over Iga Swiatek at Wimbledon. So maybe just a little bit of a mental barrier for Svitolina at these stages of tournaments. I think we spoke about when we did our opening preview of the tournament about she's not the kind of player that really pushes on and hasn't perhaps achieved what she should have. She kind of gets to these stages, and whether it's a mental block or she just freezes a bit, I'm not really quite sure. But these last two matches, like we said, have gone the distance between these two. And I think from what I've seen from Gauff so far and the conditions expected to suit Svitolina, I like over 2.5 sets here at plus 138 with Bet Rivers. That's just drifted a little bit from when I checked. Plus 143 we've got on the screen there. I think that looks fair. I think Gauff will be perhaps get the better come the end with that sort of Svitolina record. But I do expect Svitolina to get chances here, and whether Gauff gives her chances or whether she takes them for herself, either way suits us. And I can see this going the distance. So plus 143 over 2.5 sets looks a pretty good way to go.
That's our second official play, over 2.5 sets in the Gauff Svitolina game. We expect that one to go long. And if you want to follow us in, remember we've teamed up with Bet Rivers to give you an Aussie Open bonus bet from Betting Weekly and Bet Rivers. Enter the bonus code BWAO26. That's BWAO26 in your Bet Rivers app to get a $10 bonus bet to use on Australian Open wager. Offer expires on January 31st. Must be 21. Eligible players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And also, when you log into the Bet Rivers app, you can receive a daily Australian Open profit boost to use on the day's matches. So that code again is BW Betting Weekly AO Australian Open 26. Now we move across from the heat of Tuesday to the action on Tuesday evening, where it's going to be a lot cooler. We don't know the order of play yet, so these matches are going to be either Tuesday night or Wednesday early morning. But we're going to do all 4 quarterfinals on this one show, and probably the most it is the most competitive quarterfinal of the lot is the match between Rybakina and Iga Swiatek, and there is a whole host of head-to-head records to go on for these two. 7-6 in favour of Swiatek here on the head-to-head. They met 6 times last year. Swiatek won 5 of them though. Rybakina only won 1, which was at the Masters Cup. Rybakina though has had all kinds of injury problems, but she looked great. She looked great at the end of the year in the Masters Cup final, where she beat Sabalenka in the final, blitzed her, and then she's unbeaten this year as well on the route to the Australian. She got beat by Mukova in the quarterfinals in Brisbane, but she's been great form, looking good, and Iga Swiatek also looking good as well. So these two players are right at the top of their game. Bet Rivers can hardly split the two of them. It's minus 110 and minus 113. Then making the favourite Iga Swiatek. Spread is a half, total 22.5. I mean, it's a pick-up match as far as I can see. And as soon as the odds were opened up, which they opened up about 25 minutes ago, Rybakina came in originally at even money. That was gone within like 5 minutes of opening show. So the market straight away wants to be with Rybakina here. Judging by your sort of glowing reference to Rybakina at the top of the show, I'm thinking you're of the same ilk.
Yeah, I can see why the money's come for, judged on that performance today. It'll be interesting to see when this match actually takes place, because I think Swiatek, she wanted to play in the day today, and due to Australian television wanting an Australian player on in the night session, I think they turned her down. So I think she was a little bit disappointed with that, whether she knows if she did get through, this would be a day match and she wanted a bit more practice. But every day she's played at this tournament so far, she's played the night session. So she was looking for a day session today and didn't get it. So I think she was a little bit disappointed with that. Rybakina probably won't mind when this is played. She's been excellent so far. I think in official matches, Swiatek leads the head-to-head 6-5. I think a couple of those exhibition matches you might have there. But even though Swiatek leads the head-to-head 6-5. The service points won, return points won totals are exactly 100 across those 6 matches. And if you look at their hardcourt matches over the last 3 years, Swiatek leads that 4-3, but Rybakina actually leads the service points won, return points won totals 101.5 to 98.5 over those 7 matches. And you could say that since the US Open, Rybakina has been the best player in the world. I think she's won 18 of her 20 matches, only losing to Mukova in Brisbane and Sabalenka in Wuhan, and winning the WTA finals en route, where she was pretty much flawless, wasn't she? And I think she actually beat Swiatek on the way there. I think we spoke about it, didn't another player we spoke about before this tournament? Swiatek hasn't looked quite at her best yet this season, losing to Gauff and Benchits at the United Cup. Losing a set 6-1 to Anna Kalinskaya there in a couple of rounds ago. She just hasn't looked quite the Swiatek we've normally seen. I know we went under her opponent's games in the first round, and she made hard work of that first set, even coming through. I think the key for Rybakina, we spoke about her serve, and if she can serve like she did today against Mertens, I think she served 10 aces, 65% of first serves in. Didn't drop her serve at all, with an average first serve speed of 179 kilometers an hour, which is fantastic serving. And we did speak about her being a little bit cautious about whether she'd fix that, having come from Brisbane. And on today's evidence, she looks to have done that. She looked a little bit sketchy in the first couple of rounds, but if she can reproduce what she did today, I think she's going to be tough to beat. I think a key to her, she hit 32 winners there today, but she only hit 22 unforced errors. I think something with Rybakina is she can go off a little bit. It's kind of the way she plays. She can, that unforced error count can overhaul the winners count, and she can sometimes hit, say, 40 winners and 60 unforced errors, and then she makes things difficult for herself. But I think if she can play a clean and tidy match like she did today, then I don't think it matters who's on the other side of the net. I think she's virtually unbeatable. So I don't think we need to win her. She doesn't need to play a perfect match in straight sets to get the victory. She can just do that for 2/3 of the match, play a good solid match. So I think Rybakina -110 is the way to go here. I just think she's in the conditions. She's got too many weapons for Swiatek, and a lot of it is how she serves. But I think if she can take confidence from today's match into tomorrow's and serve well and keep those unforced error count down, I think she's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, I like Rybakina as well. Missed the even money, but I'm happy to take the -110. I think she's on the, and I know it's quick, and I know it's the surface will suit her, but I think she's got to beat Swiatek at this moment in time, and I like Rybakina a lot. I think it's going to be a Rybakina Sabalenka final, unfortunately, which doesn't help us. As well as the shows we do here, I ask you to hit the subscribe button. I'm asking you to follow us on our socials at Because We Win on Instagram and on Twitter. Instagram is the place to be at the moment. Some great content from Tim, myself, and Sean, giving all the bets on the matches we're not recording. So if you want to follow our tips away from the live shows on days where we're not having a show, Instagram is the place to go, and being in good form on there as well at Because We Win. Please give us a follow on that. Our final match is an All-American match. It's an important one for us as well because it's got our tournament pick in it. It's Amanda Anisimova. Obviously, she's had a great year last year, a breakthrough year. I think it's a matter of time before she wins a major. But she's got a tough match on her hands here against Jessica Pegula, a player that has got a good record against Anisimova. She leads 3-1 on the head-to-heads. Anisimova is still the favourite at -165. Jessica Pegula is +132. Spread 2.5. Total here is 21.5. I think the first thing I would say here, I think the games, I think this is going to be a long match. They played in Miami in last year, and it was Anisimova won 6-2, 7-5, got her first win. Prior to that, they played in the WTA Championship in 2024, went in the final in Toronto, went all the way to a third set. Also went to a third set in Charleston in 2024 as well, with Pegula winning 7-6. It's just got the makings of a long match. This is two players that know each other's games really well. Two players who are bidding to become the American #1 alongside Coco Gauff as well. So there's a lot at stake for them as well. And it just looks a long match to me. Over 2.5 sets, +125 is my way of thinking. I don't know what you think about this. We've got a position already with Anisimova to win the tournament, so probably staking should be kept very low.
Yeah, I think a difficult match to have a strong opinion on. Obviously, we're hoping Anisimova comes through for our outright pick. I think she'll be another player who's probably happier with the conditions here being a little bit cooler, whether she might just, I think she maybe just struggle in that really sort of 100-degree heat, perhaps, Anisimova. She's always got the ice towel out and icing herself to keep cool. So I think she'll be fairly pleased that those conditions are coming down. I think ignoring that Cincinnati match, which was nearly 6 years ago, Pegula leads the service points, one and return points, one does 108 to 92. But I think you have to take those matches with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because Anisimova was kind of on the comeback trail, and I think she's a much more complete player now. And I think a couple of those sets that went the distance, when Anisimova was coming back, I'm not saying she was out of shape, but she was miles away from the player she is now. She was playing well for a couple of sets, and then she just didn't have the physique to go through in that third set, and she was just losing a lot of third sets fairly comfortably when in her comeback. But like you, I expect a very close and competitive match. Anisimova, she's only lost the one match this year, as has Pegula, and they both came to Marta Kostyuk, both in Australia at the same tournament in Brisbane. So both have excellent records so far this week. Pegula just going under the radar. She tends to do this, doesn't she? She's nothing flashy, but very solid and very consistent player. We're obviously on Anisimova on the outright, so I don't think there's any need to be getting involved. And I think minus 165 is very short here. Look, it looks a too tricky a match for me to really have a call on. We've obviously got our position with Anisimova, and if I had to have a very small lean, I tend to agree with you, Nigel. I can probably see this going quite long, but I think the position we have on Anisimova, and I think the markets do pretty much have the odds about spot on to me. I can't really find a real angle on this match. So I think as far as the individuals that are already on Anisimova, like ourselves, are concerned, we'll give this a watching brief and cheer her on.
Yeah, I think that's the best strategy, but I do think if you are looking for a bet and you want to get involved in some action, my lean would be over 2.5 sets. I believe it would be a long one. Both players are playing well, and both of them want to, they're going to go toe-to-toe and try to get through to the semi-finals. Let's have a look at the offer again that Bet Rivers have given us in association with Bet Rivers on the Betting Weekly Australian Open bonus. Enter the bonus code BWAO26 in your Bet Rivers app to get a $10 bonus bet to use on any Australian Open wager. That code again is BWAO26. The offer expires at the end of the tournament on January the 31st, so you're running out of time. You must be 21 or over, eligible players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And also, when you log into your BetRivers account, you can receive a daily Australian Open profit boost to use on that day's matches. So you might want to use it on these official plays. What are the official plays?
Official plays, yeah, starting with the games that are first up. Coco Gauff versus Elina Svitolina. We're going to go over 2.5 sets at plus, I think it was plus 143, over 2.5 sets at plus 143 for 1 unit. Aryna Sabalenka versus Jovic. We're going to go for a prop bet. Jovic over 7.5 player games at minus 117. And our final official play will be fairly simple. Elina Rybakina on the money line at minus 110 to beat Iga Swiatek.
As well as Anisimova, our tournament pick, we have action on all 4 matches there. We're going to cheer a lot of them, and hopefully we can catch some tickets as well. We'll be back tomorrow, myself and Sean Calvert on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. We're also back on Wednesday as well, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. The next time myself and Tim will be here on Betting Weekly WTA, we'll be able to preview the women's final, and hopefully Anisimova is in there. If you want to get Tim's picks for the ladies' singles semi-finals, you need to follow him on Instagram at Because We Win. Okay, you've only got a few days in the sun, so make sure you get back there and enjoy yourself. I'm going to go back to the cold, put the fire on and try to get some heating on here. It's terrible all across America, the snowstorms as well. So if you're in America, I hope you're safe and well, and keep that fire and keep yourself warm as well. And watch that tennis tonight, 100 degrees, and wishing ahead to the summer where we can all have a bit of sun. Take care, everybody. Enjoy. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a follow on socials at Because We Win. Hopefully, let's cash some tickets together. Speak to you all again tomorrow. Myself and Sean on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match.